Alright, so this is just the last video for the Habaki that I'm going to show you. Basically what I've done is I've taken it to the point where I've started shaping it to fit the sword. So you can kind of see how it looks when it's all glued together. And basically, as I mentioned in the last video, all I did was once it was finished, I finished carving out the inside and it was a nice fit. What I did is I just glued the two pieces together. You can still see I've got this piece here that was just like that, and then I just used a quick saw and cut it right down to a good distance in front there, so you can see how that's going to shape. It's going to be a little shorter than that, but that'll give me a good starting point. And then I started shaping it to the sword. I just wanted to show you, I didn't want to do the whole thing yet. I wanted to show you what the difference would be. You can see how there's a slight angle here, and you can see the bevel that follows all the way around. This is actually going to wrap all the way around. It's going to be a little bit thinner than this as well. Something to keep in mind when you're shaping this, you have to keep in mind that you're trying to follow the inside curve, but you also don't want this to be too delicate, and the more you work with it, the more delicate it's going to be. So the more delicate, the more gentle you have to be. So just keep that in mind. Usually it works best just to use a file and a knife in conjunction, like just to take off some of these corners, whatever, use the knife, but the rest of it is just a file. But just to show you how it fits on the sword, fits just like that. You can see this bevel here I've made simply to match the bevel that I created for the spine. So there's really no good way of showing it to you, but you can see how that works. And I do have some tinkering to do because you can see there's a little bit of a gap right there that I need to finish. But other than that, the gap around's pretty good. So you can really start to see what it's going to look like. So that's pretty much it for the Habaki. I hope it covered everything. Just something that you need to keep in mind again for the Habaki is just to be very gentle with it. Once you're to this stage, you don't want to ruin all that work that you've done. Once it's to this stage also, you want to make sure that you take some time to file down the top just to make this nice and flat, and the same down here to preparation for the seppa, the spaces that we're going to work on next. And if you need to, you can use a little bit of wood filler in it or anything like that if it's going to be painted over. Unfortunately, if you're not going to paint over it, you're going to have to start over, which is a pretty strong thing to say. But also something to keep in mind, you can see this bevel, the two beveled edges inside on the back. That's to match the spine on the tang as well. I don't believe I mentioned that at all through the video, so it's something you really need to pay attention to as well. And I think that is pretty much it, but you can see how it just mimics the rest of the sword, the tang and everything. It just slides right on. In terms of fit, that's one thing I need to talk about as well. In terms of fit, what you want it to do is you want it to be able to slide on nice and easy and be a little bit tighter up here, but this even is a little bit too tight because what you're going to do is you're going to paint this, and you're probably going to paint the inside of this. You may not, but I mean, if you do, that's going to be 2 more layers of paint. So this seems like a good fit, and it would be if I was going to leave it bare wood. But if I'm going to paint it, which I'm going to, you really need to make sure it's going to be kind of loose so that when you paint it, it won't just rub the paint right off of both the inside and the outside. So yeah, that's it. Next videos we'll cover with the seppa, which are just spacers that go on either side of the tsuba. And then we'll go on from there.